It was during this time, I estimate I was approximately 6 years old, that Larry Nassar began to sexually abuse me.
In 2015, the FBI received a formal complaint. It named a specific person. It described specific acts. It came from credible sources inside one of the most powerful sports organizations in America. And for the next 14 months, the FBI did absolutely nothing.
During those 14 months, more than 70 additional women came forward with the same story.
This is not a story about one bad person. This is a story about a system that had every tool to stop him and chose not to use them. My name is Alice. This is ShadowDossier. And today we're talking about the Larry Nassar case, not the man himself, but the institutions that protected him. For over 2 decades, Lawrence Gerard Nassar worked as the national team physician for USA Gymnastics, the organization that trains and sends athletes to the Olympics. He was also a faculty member at Michigan State University. On the surface, a respected professional, a trusted figure. Behind that surface, hundreds of athletes would eventually describe a pattern of misconduct that had been ongoing since the late 1990s.
The first known report to USA Gymnastics leadership came in 1997. The organization's response? They conducted an internal review. They did not contact law enforcement. They let him continue working. That's not an oversight. That's a policy decision, and it set the tone for everything that followed.
Over the years, multiple young athletes reported their experiences to coaches, to team officials, to people they trusted. And repeatedly, they were told they were wrong, that what happened was medical procedure, that Nassar was a professional and they were misunderstanding the situation.
Think about what that does to a person. You come forward, you take that risk, and the institution looks you in the eye and says, "You're mistaken." This is one of the most well-documented patterns in institutional failure. When an organization's reputation is more valuable to it than the truth, it will protect the reputation.
USA Gymnastics had Olympic medals, sponsorships, a global brand. Larry Nassar was part of that brand. And so the reports were quietly filed away, and he kept working. Now here's where the story shifts, because this is no longer just about one organization looking the other way. This is about federal law enforcement.
July 2015, USA Gymnastics officially notifies the FBI's Indianapolis field office. They hand over names, allegations, documentation. The FBI opens an investigation, and then almost nothing happens.
August 2015, September, October. The investigation sits. No interviews conducted with Nassar. No coordination with Michigan State University, where he still works. No alert to local law enforcement. Meanwhile, Nassar continues seeing athletes at the university, at his private practice, at training facilities.
2016 arrives. The Rio Olympics happen. Nassar travels with the U.S. team as the national physician. He is credentialed, officially sanctioned. The FBI knew his name. They had a file on him, and they sent him to the Olympics.
September 2016, 14 months after the initial FBI notification, the Indianapolis Star publishes an investigative report. It is journalism, not law enforcement, that finally forces the situation into the open. Within weeks, Nassar is fired from Michigan State. Michigan State Police open their own investigation, and the FBI, the agency that had this information for over a year, is suddenly very interested.
In 2021, the Justice Department's Office of Inspector General released its findings on the FBI's handling of the Nassar case. The report was 119 pages long, and it was damning. The investigation found that FBI agents in Indianapolis made fundamental errors in their handling of the case. They failed to respond to the allegations with the utmost seriousness. They failed to take action that could have helped to prevent Nassar from harming others.
One senior FBI agent, W.J. Abbott, was found to have misled investigators about his conversations with USA Gymnastics. At the time of those conversations, he was applying for a job with the organization's security division.
He was investigating an organization, while applying for a job with that organization, and his report reflected that conflict. Abbott eventually resigned from the FBI. He was never criminally charged. The Department of Justice declined to prosecute the FBI agents involved. They cited insufficient evidence.
The same system, a different result. In September 2021, 4 athletes testified before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee: Simone Biles, Ali Reisman, Maggie Nichols, Michaela Maroney. 4 Olympic-level athletes sitting in a Senate chamber, describing how they had been failed, not just by one man, but by every institution around him.
Simone Biles, the most decorated gymnast in American history, said this: "I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetuated his abuse."
Michaela Maroney described reporting her experience to FBI agents in 2015. She said the agent's response made her feel that what happened to her wasn't that big of a deal. She said the agent asked her to tell her story and then did nothing with it for over a year.
These are not allegations about the original perpetrator. These are sworn testimonies about the federal investigators who were supposed to protect them.
FBI Director Christopher Wray sat across from them at that hearing. He apologized.
An apology for 14 months of inaction, while 70 more people were harmed.
Nassar was eventually sentenced to 40 to 175 years in a Michigan state court. He will almost certainly never leave prison, and for many people, that felt like justice.
But here's the question that the sentence doesn't answer. What happens to the institutions? USA Gymnastics filed for bankruptcy in 2018. Michigan State University reached a $500 million settlement with survivors. The FBI agents involved faced no criminal charges.
The institutions absorbed the cost, paid out the settlements, and continued operating. And that is the part of this story that rarely makes the headline.
One person goes to prison. The systems that allowed him to operate for decades restructure, rebrand, and move forward. We call it accountability when someone is convicted. But accountability for an institution looks very different. And in this case, many would argue it never fully arrived.
The Larry Nassar case is not a story about one predator who slipped through the cracks. It's a story about how institutions, when given a choice between protecting people and protecting themselves, make that choice clearly and consistently.
The cracks were not accidental. They were structural. And that's what makes this case worth talking about.
Not the details of what one person did, but the documented, investigated, confirmed record of every institution that had the power to stop it and didn't.
The Inspector General's report exists. The Senate testimony is on record. The timeline is public.
So the next time someone says, "The system works," ask them which system they're referring to, because in this case, it worked exactly as designed, just not for the people it was supposed to protect. This is Shadow Dossier. If this case made you think, leave a comment. If you think the FBI agents should have faced charges, tell us below. We read every single one. See you in the next case.